doing a little bit of like a short video on stretching, focusing on your feet today. So this is not really yoga. This is sort of something that's come up a few times from people that I know. And I don't know if it's just winter time or something like that, but it seems like during the winter or right now, people have a lot of aches and pains in their feet. And it could be, the floors are kind of cold, kind of gets a little cold at night. So it could be, any of those types of things that cause it, or it could just be, that we forget about our feet sometimes. And it's always a good time to stretch them. So we'll do about 15 minutes of stretching just on our feet and focusing on that. So I do have my helpers today. I have my dogs and my kiddo. So other helpers that you might need at home besides them. I have a strap. So this is a yoga strap that we use that has the two little D-rings at the end. But you can really use anything that you have around. So if you have a belt that's kind of like this, or if you have a kitchen towel even, if it's long enough, will work. A tie will work. Anything that you can kind of put a little bit of tension on. Yeah, are you helping me out?
Yeah.
Okay. The other thing is a block. So we have this. I almost couldn't find this, so I have, some backup things that I'll use. Yeah, we gotta get the backups. So backups that you can use are a book. If you have like a dictionary that's about this size. Yeah, can you go get a book? Can you show a book? So you can use that, or if you have a box that's about this size, it doesn't need to be, a box, like a kid's shoebox size, but be able to put a little bit of pressure on it.
What color?
Yeah, thank you. Good, showing your book. The other thing that we'll be using in this video is actually a tennis ball. That I could not find. I'm pretty sure that it's under my couch, but yeah, those are colors, those are paints. So an alternative that I found is a nice tightly wound ball of yarn. So this is about the same, a little bit less, it's a little bit more squishy than a tennis ball would be. But just goes to show you don't need necessarily the exact thing that's in the video all the time. So this will work. Anything that you have around the house that's about the same size as the tennis ball, softball, and is a little bit squishy. So you don't want something that's very hard or very soft.
It's a dump truck.
Yeah, it is a dump truck.
Bicycle.
So we'll get started with just some things you can do without any of these. So if you want, you can just do the first couple minutes here of stretching or just with your feet and no other tools. So I'm going to stick my feet out and sit up. Your knees can be bent. You can actually roll up a towel here and put it, or a pillow like about this size. You can put that under your knees if that's a little bit more helpful. A little bit more comfortable sometimes because we're stretching our hamstrings in this kind of pose. So if it, is too much to put your knees down, then definitely modify it here. So, Kira, can you please?
Yeah.
So my knees are a little bit bent. I don't have to worry about stretching the hamstrings or anything like that. So I am just going to start flexing and pointing the feet. So right now I have socks on. It's a little bit cold. Just going to stretch, flex, point. And when I flex, I'm going to start to feel in my calves, in the bottom of my feet, a little bit of that stretching sensation. It's not going to be a painful sensation. It's just a sensation. And then when I point my feet, I'm going to feel that along the top of my legs, along the top of my feet. And again, it's going to be just a sensation. It's not going to feel painful. If it does feel painful to you, that's something that you want to pause. You would maybe want to talk to a doctor or a health professional. So we're just pointing and flexing.
Big book.
Yeah. And I usually talk about this at the beginning of the class, is that any of these moves that we're doing throughout this video, you are doing them at your own risk at home, since I can't see you, I can't modify or give you adjustments. So now we're going to start to take these into circles. So we're going to take it out, and you can do one direction or the other. I like to go out and then switch it up on the next one. So we're going to keep with these outward circles or whichever direction you've chosen, because we're going to get both sides, so don't worry about it. So we're just circling around, and then we're going to take it to the other direction. So pausing at the top, taking it now. I'm going inward, and if you're going in one direction altogether, you can switch it up. So now I'm starting to feel a little bit of like a work sensation, like my muscles are working. I'm feeling that in the tops and the bottoms of my legs, so in the front of my shins and the bottom of the calves. So I'm going to start to pause here in this flexed position. And think about pressing your heels down. So not the bottom of your heels, but actually the backs of your heels, pressing them down into the floor and feeling nice and rooted down through the backs of your legs. If you'd like to take the pillow away, you can take the pillow away. Or straighten your legs a little bit more, since we started to warm up the legs a little bit.
Mama, it's a boat.
It is a boat. So we're thinking about rooting down, whether or not we have the pillow, rooting down through our sits bones, lifting up through the front of our chest, flexing through the feet. And now we're going to go to pointing. Yeah, fire truck. Go to pointing your toes.
Headland.
So we're just pausing a little bit longer than we did in the beginning. Feeling that stretch a little bit more. And then going back to flexing. Now we're going to start to take our upper body a little bit forward and a little bit back. So we're not rounding the spine. We're keeping a nice straight, long spine. Just sending it forward and back. And keeping our feet nice and flexed the whole time. So we're being mindful of our feet, mindful of our toes. One more each direction. And then come back to center. We're going to point the toes this time. And then same thing. We're going to bring ourselves forward just a little bit and back just a little bit. I'm feeling how that changes the sensation maybe a little bit in our lower legs and our feet, to keep ourselves pointing our toes and also moving our upper body. Thinking about driving our heels straight down, once again. Yeah, that's the baby. Yeah. And one more time, each direction, and then come to sit up nice and straight. We're just going to roll the shoulders really quick and let our knees bend, coming into a seated position, rolling the shoulders back. Really nice and open here. And then we'll come into a tabletop. So hands and knees. So in hands and knees, you can put a pillow or a blanket under your knees so that they don't hurt as much. But the tops of our feet, that's where we're going to focus. Tops of the feet are down. So I'll turn so you can see that a little bit better. My hands are directly under my shoulders. My knees are directly under my hips. And then I'm going to send my hips over my feet, extending my arms, and then lifting up nice and slow. So I'm starting to feel a little bit more stretch in the front of my legs, maybe up to the top of my knees. And lift on up.
Mama.
Gonna come back. Onto the tops of our feet. Feeling that pressing down.
Mama.
We're going to start to lift the upper body onto the heel. So now my weight is directly down. If that's too much on your knees, you can still come forward.
Orange dump.
Yeah, orange dump truck. So you can come forward to relieve some of the pressure off of your knees. Otherwise, we're going to lift so our upper body is nice and long over the tops of the feet. And then we're going to start to take that into one motion. So we're going to come forward and then lift up, pressing the tops of our feet into the floor the whole time. One last time. Then come on back and into all fours. in all fours, we're going to extend one leg straight back. This time we're going to land the ball of the foot. You probably can't see that. I'm going to move forward here. So one foot's going to go straight back. The ball of the foot's going to be down. So my toes point towards my hips. And I'm going to slightly bend this back knee as I move myself forward and back. So I'm starting to warm up the sole of the foot with a nice deep stretch. But only going as far as I can feel it as a sensation, not turning it into any kind of pain or discomfort. And then on the next one, we'll go ahead and switch. So the knee comes down, other leg goes back, toes are faced towards my hands, and start to stretch.
Cars. Yellow.
And then come on down when you're done with that. So on the next one, I'm going to take my socks off because now I'm feeling a little bit more warm in the feet. And so that it's a little bit easier to demonstrate, I'm going to bring myself a little bit of a towel, roll it up on the floor, because the next one you're going to have your toes on and the balls of the feet, or on the top of the toes on the ground. So let me turn around so you can see my feet. So again, in that tabletop position, the hands and knees on the floor, and then I'm going to take my toes, ball of the foot comes down. So it might not reach all the way to the ground, just your toes, and we're going to bring ourselves forward into hands and knees, tabletop, and then send the hips back over the feet, stretching the bottoms of the feet. And then bring yourself up, and then back. And then up, and back. One last time, we're going to bring ourselves up, and then back, and hold it down right here. And then I'm going to start to walk my hands back so that my upper body lifts nice and long, just like we did before. But this time my toes are underneath. So I'm stretching the bottom of my toes, and I'm going to walk my hands nice and slow forward. So now we're going to start to bring that all together by bringing ourselves up and over, holding, and then slowly walking our hands forward. Just like we did with the toes face down before. And forward. So this time you should be feeling some sensation in the bottom of the feet, in this tendon that goes all the way up and down the foot.
Yellow.
And feeling like maybe there's some sensation there, but we're not bringing ourselves into any kind of pain or discomfort. Just a little bit of sensation. So bringing it up. We're going to hold it here. And if you can, start to allow yourself to put your weight onto those heels and feel that stretch even deeper in the feet. If this is too much sensation, again, you can come up off the heels and put your weight more forward. Just feeling that stretch.
Oh no, stuck.
Do you need help?
Yeah.
Can you say help me, please?
Yeah, please. Alright.
And then when you're ready, take a nice deep breath, come on forward, and we're going to shake out the feet. So the tops of the feet turn down, and just give them a little shake on the floor, just like that. And then when you're ready, you can take that blanket out of the way and have a seat. So that's our section on just using your body weight and the floor for stretching your feet. Other deeper stretches that you can come into, I'll just demonstrate them really quick. You can try a downward facing dog. So for that one, we're going to send our hips way up into the sky, and then bend our knees as we bring our feet, our heels closer to the ground. So remember to have a nice long upper body here. And you can alternate sides. You can do both feet together. But remember to breathe while you do this. Yeah.
Oh, the tree's coming.
Another one that's kind of nice to do is to come into a fold, step 1 foot forward. Remember to bend both knees slightly and keep your hips somewhat square to the front. And you can lift the front heel, you can lift the back heel, you can alternate front, back. Sometimes it's nice to put the block here on the low setting and come into that pyramid pose like that, and just put your hands down. Make sure you bend your knee a little bit here, and then make sure you switch sides. So that can be a nice deep stretch. You're not going to get into these too much, but that's an option for you at home. So we'll start with the strap, some of our assisted poses with this. So I have the strap in a little bit of a loop right now. So basically you just loop it over and then run the other end through. So it creates a little bit of a sliding loop. And then when you put tension on it, it stays. And so for that, it just makes it a little bit longer. So if you were to have a dish towel or a tie or a belt or something, you could loop it around a single loop and put it in your hand like that. I like this because it helps my upper body stay neutral and stay out of the stretch, because we're really focusing on our feet. So either one. So for first off, I'll show you this one. You can loop it around your foot like that, or you can bring your foot closer to you and then loop around the ball of your foot and then extend your foot outward. I have the strap just in one hand, and now what I'll do is just bring it back towards me slightly until you feel that sensation through the bottom of your foot and calf. So I'm going to stop once I feel it, and then with my foot and my shin, I'm going to start to put pressure on it and take that into a flexed foot, almost a pointed foot, that I am not pointing my toes. And then bring it back to a nice flex. So you'll see that my calf now is engaged, and I'm taking it into that flex.
Look.
Yeah. And then back to flex. So really quick. One and the other. All right. And then we'll switch it up to the other side. So from this angle. So I'm just sitting up nice and tall here. I'm feeling that stretch. Now I'm going to start to activate my muscles, activate my leg, and press down into that arched foot with the toes flexed, and then bring it back. So now my calf is engaged. It feels a little bit different to stretch it like that. And back. Still putting pressure on this the whole time with my foot and a little bit with my hand. So I'm still pressing into it. And back. One last time. And then we'll take the loop away. So now we'll take it into just a single across. And this is a little bit better because I can have some space in between my feet, and with the single loop, it kind of squishes your feet together. So we want to make sure the feet are hips width distance apart. And now I'm going to take into both hands the strap and do the same action, but try to keep them apart. So I'm activating my legs, I'm pressing against the strap down into those arched feet with the toes flexed, and then back up. So I'm really focusing, trying to keep my balls of my feet flat, as if I was standing on something, and now bringing them back to a flexed position. And also, so there's a lot going on here. You're trying to keep your feet from collapsing inward, trying to keep your feet from creating some kind of weird shape, trying to keep them from slipping off the strap. So there's all kinds of things. You're working here, you're working the outside edge of the foot, the inside edge of the foot, your calves, your shins, the whole thing. And so you're also stretching your foot at the same time. So make sure that you're doing this safely, slowly, and mindfully at home. And again, my upper body is nice and neutral, my spine is straight, my arms are by my sides, I'm not doing the chicken wing up by my neck or anything like that. So if you are doing that, give yourself a little bit of shake out. And one more, just like that. Hold out. And bring it back in nice and slow. So we'll take the strap away. Other variations of this, you can take this into wide-legged, you can loop one, do the same thing, and then the other side. You can also do this flat on your back and have the feet up and do the same thing. So these are all just variations on a theme that will hopefully help you get some more flexibility in the feet. The cat sees a light reflection, so anyway, with this strap, there's different positions might help you get into your foot a little bit better. So feel free to try it out and see what works for you best. So then we have our block, and like I said, this can be a block or it can be a book or any number of things. So no worries if you don't have this exact block at home. We are going to be using it on the lowest setting, so it's flat and nice and steady and sturdy and not going to move. So that's the most important thing when you're using this. So we're going to come into...
Traffic!
Oh, there's traffic. So we're going to come into a fold. Yeah. We're going to come into the fold. So in this fold, my knees are still bent. My upper body is nice and long. We're going to place our hands on the block. Or you can put it on your... So if you can't quite reach the block, I can put the block here. I can put my hands on the couch. So you don't have to come into a full fold to do this. So I'm going to show you from that because it's the easiest to see on the camera. So I'm going to put my hands down on whatever surface. And then I'm going to lift one ball of the foot just up and rock it forward and down. So as you can see, I'm shifting my weight back slightly, but I'm still keeping my knee bent, lifting the ball of the foot. So we're just going to continue with that for a second here. I'm going to do 3 each side. And last one. And down. And then we're going to start to lift the one side. So I'll start with the other side so you can see it. I'm going to lift the other side up. So my hip's going to lift a little bit. And then I'm going to start to drop that hip down so my heel comes down. Now on this part, you might want to switch to that couch or tabletop or countertop or whatever it is. Or even just put your hands on your hips so you start to straighten your spine. And you can start to feel that stretch in the foot and calf, ankle, all of that. So if this is too much sensation, start with a shorter block. And you can start to play with wiggling the toes. You should be able to wiggle your toes here. Move them around a little bit. And then we're going to come down, bring that foot down, give it a little shake, and we're going to switch over to the other side. So the other side comes up, have the ball of the foot on the block, bring that heel down, make sure your hips are nice and somewhat level here. And then you can find your hips, tabletop, block, whatever you want. And then bring it down. And we'll get rid of that block for now. The last thing that we'll go over is the tennis ball, or in my case, a ball of yarn. And for this one, we'll stay standing. So I'm going to place my hands on my hips, or I'm going to hold on to a wall or something. So I'll lift one foot up. And the way that we're going to go with this is, I'll show you here. We're going to start to roll the ball along our foot. And we're going to go first up and down. So we're going with our tendon. And then we're going to go across. So across that tendon all the way up, all the way down. And then we're going to go with it again. So we're going to start off here, either holding onto the wall or whatever it is. We're going to bring that tennis ball up and down the foot, nice and slow. And you can start to get into one side, and bring it back, and get to the other side. So we're just rolling that across our foot. forward and back. I promise my feet are clean for this part. With the arm. And bring it back. And then now we're going to start to go across. So really, I'm not putting a lot of weight on this leg, but I'm starting to bring it across. Maybe start fast, and then you start to go slow. And you can even do this sitting down. So if it's too much to even like catch the wall or something like that, you can do this seated, side to side. Not putting a ton of weight on this right now. And then bringing it back up. Nice and slow. Is that you? Yeah. And then maybe some circles feel nice. So you can even do this in little circles. Just nice and controlled, making sure that you're not falling over or anything like that. Yeah, and then mommy is in there too. And then the last one, we'll just bring it nice and slow up and down the foot.
Oh, done.
And then make sure you do the same thing on the other foot. So we're going to start. Hey, let's not do that, please. Thank you. Up and down the foot. Can you play with your books, please?
Book.
Your books. And then now we'll start side to side. All the way down. Hey, can you play with these books, please? Hey, can you play with the books, please?
No.
And now I'm going back up and maybe starting some circles across the foot. And then start to bring forward and back into this. All the way up, nice and slow, all the way down. And when you're doing the rolling with the ball, tennis ball, volleyball, whatever it is, you might start to feel that there's some areas that need extra little attention. And always make sure that wherever those areas are, you go with the tendon first, and then you go across, and then you go with it again. So that'll always be every little area you do. Here you go over 3 times at the very least. So that's the end of the video. I hope you found this helpful. If you want more on this topic or other topics, just let me know. And have a good one. Thank you.